Hi, welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. Now, yesterday in Holyrood, Shirley-Anne Somerville got up and addressed those there gathered and announced that the SNP government would, after all, be paying the winter fuel allowance. They've reversed their position. They had originally decided that, yes, since they're being cancelled in England and Wales, they'd take the opportunity of cancelling it in Scotland. For no other reason, of course, than just to spread a bit of misery and poverty in time for Christmas. They really are miserable people. Shona Robertson did actually confirm about a week, 10 days ago or so, that they did in fact have the money. They could afford to pay it. They just elected not to, presumably so that they could free up more money to give to Angus Robertson and the independence push. An independence push that will never happen. And so it's money down the pan. However, the reversal came. And I'm going to be honest, the reversal is very, very welcome. It will be as much relief to the elderly of Scotland. However, whilst Shirley-Anne Somerville was the one announcing this yesterday afternoon in Holyrood, she was not the one who broke the news. For earlier in the day, the Daily Record actually released this and said it will be happening, blah, 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 gave some details. And this has caused a problem. This has caused a major headache. Now, the Holyrood's presiding officer, Alison Johnson, I don't know why I was about to say Alison Hammond, not the same person. Alison Johnson is now considering whether a government statement is necessary or even whether there should be an inquiry as to how the paper got the news and broke it before Holyrood was informed of the decision. And she's very much minded that when a minister has to make a statement, they make it to the House before they make it to the press. Or at the very least, they do it at the same time and have a press embargo on. So you give the press packs out to the press, we say, but don't do anything with it until, say, 3:00 when I've done my speech. That's often a thing that's done because the press need time to get things in. But the agreement is that it's on a timed release. We're giving you this so you can prep your stuff, but don't release until, and then 3:00 or whatever the time will be. Now, Alison Johnson said that, whether it needs a full inquiry or not remains to be seen. She certainly is going to investigate using her office to see whether this was a leak or was there something more nefarious about it. If it was a leak, they want to find out who did it. This shouldn't be allowed. And it's all very, very up in the air at the moment. Now, apparently, Rachel Reeves, she caused anger when she cut this earlier on, but she's not happy at all that that the SNP are bringing this in. It's making her look terrible. The fact that Scottish pensioners are getting it, English and Welsh aren't. She doesn't like the idea. She wants the SNP to not go ahead with it, because it makes her look bad, makes her look cruel and heartless and inhuman. But she is, so that's fine, absolutely fine. So like I say, she's pretty angry. It would have stripped up about 900,000 Scots of this, but now they're all going to get it. It's excellent. Now, Shirley-Anne Somerville will, as I say, reverse this decision with immediate effect. So although it may be slightly delayed in them getting it, they will at least get it. They know that. But there is a slight... everyone will get something. This is what we're going to say. There's a slight means testing. Everyone will get something, but those in greater need will receive slightly more. I think that's fair enough. I'm not going to argue. But lots of people are happy that the decision's been made, but unhappy that it had to be made, unhappy that the decision was made in the first place to cut it, and unhappy on how it was announced. But generally, I'm very unhappy with the SNP generally, I suppose. So, Jeremy Balfour, he's a Tory MSP. He was angered by the fact that the reports came out in the Record before being announced in the House for obvious reasons. It shouldn't be. What he's saying is that policies like this should always be announced in the House first. Otherwise, it's a breach of protocol. And also, it's very rude. And if it has been found to be a deliberate leak, then he's saying heads must roll. But now it's too late. I mean, it's all been out and said and done. But yeah, I mean, you can't cry after spilt milk, really, can you? But it's one of the things. There's stricter rules at Parliament in Westminster than there is Holyrood. But even so, it's still not good protocol wise. Anyway, First Minister confirmed that options are being considered on how best to implement it. But the general consensus is everybody gets something. Some get more, some get less. That's there. They're not going to go down to a full assessment. They're just going to base it roughly on perceived income, I think, because they get everybody's return and everybody's there. They all have to declare it. So they've got an idea. But it does set the scene, doesn't it? If they can reverse their decision, it don't half put pressure on Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer down in London. After all, if a party can bite the bullet, say, actually, okay, the decision was wrong and we need to look after the vulnerable, let's reverse the decision. Because ultimately it doesn't cost that much in terms of what this party, the Labour Party, are wasting sending money all over the world. And of course, there was the big confrontation between Labour in London, Labour in Scotland, with Anna Sarwar, of course, coming out and saying that if he was in charge, he will be reversing that. And there would definitely be the winter fuel allowance will definitely be going through. So he's actually going against his own party. This caused much greeting and gnashing of teeth for those in possession of teeth, given that a lot of them are elderly, might not be. But despite sort of Labour pushing through this cut, regardless of people's feelings, Anna Sarwar said that a devolved Scotland, will go ahead with it. And he's going to stand up. And this is why I think there is that divorce between Labour and Scottish Labour that hopefully for Scottish Labour will benefit them. Not that I particularly like Anna Sarwar and that, because I just don't like Labour, I don't like socialists. But I loathe the SNP. So realistically, come 2026 in the election, it's going to be Labour are going to be the challengers. But anyone who can get any SNP seat out, it's a victory, regardless of who goes in, more or less. And it's exactly this. It's him coming up, standing there, and standing up to Keir Starmer. This is the thing. Standing up to Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves, that'll be popular in Scotland. I believe you me, Rachel Reeves and Keir Starmer are not popular in Scotland. They're certainly not popular in England. In fact, I reckon there's members of their own family that don't like them. So Starmer's wife, for one, apparently, not a good marriage of convenience. If you ever watch, they don't kiss on the lips. It's always roughly, vaguely face area, but not intimate. So, all very good. But I do hope there is an inquiry. I do hope they find out who leaked it, and I do hope they fire them publicly. Let's have a big show. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thanks very much. Bye.